welcome to Expressions. Today we have Professor N.K. Ganguly. This is brought to you by the New Indian Express in Savlon. And perhaps no one better than him. He was former Director General of ICMR. And he's been practically in every major institution. If he's not built it up from scratch, he's been in practically every major institution of the medical architecture of this country. Professor N.K. Ganguly, thank you so much for joining us. Um, uh, you've seen what's happening all around. You've seen the trauma that's being visited upon people by the second wave, especially. Uh, no one understands the architecture of the medical infrastructure in this country perhaps better than you. I wanted to ask you right away that do you feel the way the decisions have been taken, whether it was the first wave or the second wave, through down the line, through ICMR, through NII, through NITI Aayog, do you think that was the correct way? Or do you think there ought to have been a better coordination, a better architecture to do that?
Actually, Kaveri, I handled around 10 epidemics when I was in ICMR, one almost every year. And
Right.
whenever it hit us, we got paralyzed for 6 months. We didn't do anything. And during those times, we thought that we should build up institutes which should protect us. So one of the first thing which I was involved in, I was in PGI Chandigarh. I was a professor there. When plague hit us, Dr. Ramlinga Swami called me and said, let us go around and see that whether we can solve this problem of plague.
Right.
Because at that time, our CDC, at that time was not known as CDC, was supposed to do this. And it actually called that melidiosis, which was not as, it caused as Pseudomonas pseudomallei, that infection. And later on, it was turned out to be Pseudomonas sulzeri, an environmental bug. Right. And so Dr. Ramlinga Swami and me, when we started looking at, we found that we have lost the plague, which was a very common thing in India, expertise in plague.
Right.
So we started looking at it, and from DRDO, we fished out Dr. Batra. Mm-hmm. And then we went around the country and we sorted out the problem. But then we realized, not we, Dr. Ramlinga Swami realized that we should strengthen the NCDC.
Right.
And so around the health secretary, there was a meeting, and it was decided that we will strengthen the NCDC to the same extent as the CDC.
Right.
And I visited with the health minister, CDC, at that time of health minister, and a seed was planted for that. And however, so that CDC was to become like a US CDC,
right,
with center around the world and centers around India to investigate disease and control disease. This was its function, and do surveillance. So with the CDC US, disease surveillance system was set up at that particular time, and it was thought that it will be an autonomous organization. It will do the same. It will do those. Then the second thing, institute which we wanted to build up was an institute which will help in the biological product development, validation. And so that we will be able to import biological products from outside, and we will create systems, our companies, to help them in creating vaccine and antibodies. And we set up NIB, about 600 crore, 450 crore institute. And it was a beautiful institute. And it was also thought that we will strengthen ICMR so that it can take its own system. And it was in my time that it was turned into Department of Health Research and ICMR. And lastly, there was two more structures which came up. one structure which came up was that it was thought that we will really strengthen the Directorate of Health Services, so that the bureaucrats could do implementation, and Directorate of Health Services can create policies as well as create systems which will help us. So what we see today is when we are, and we also set up the National Disaster Management Board at that time. And it was to be like FEMA and in the USA. And any disaster happened, it had to go, it had to manage supply chain, it had to manage inventories. It was to become like that. So somehow or other we lost our way somewhere, that these institutes which were to function today as a strength, these institutes we are not, these institutes, some of them we are seeing and some of them we are not really seeing at this given time to really perform the subject which they were supposed to perform. Then there was one more thing. There was we had a Director General Health Services, J.B. Srivastava. He thought that we should have public health laboratories in each district. And so we set up the PFHI and we started to strengthen the public health institutes. And there were FTCP people who were supposed to be being the field epidemiologists who will help in these. So there were a lot of courses and they were also there. So main issue which, and our other councils were to produce products, drugs, etc. And they were in the CSIR, they were in the Department of Biotechnology and other places. So in these systems, we thought that there will be a coordinated effort of all these in a way that they will be seamlessly working to handle this pandemic, and we will not have to suffer like what we suffered today. In the field, we had two other things which also Government of India did: rural health services and then national health services, which connected urban poor and urban areas with the rural areas, and the ashas and the other health workers, link health workers were created who will work at the grassroots level to provide certain services. So we did everything right actually, and we also created public health standard things. So that should also help us. And what we didn't do, that we had to strengthen these institutes so that they were all autonomous, they could work. So we thought that these particular structures which we had set up will help. And in this thing, the Prime Minister of India also set up certain structures where there was a rural insurance, there was drug protection, everything. So it was not that we didn't think of these. These were thought of, these were created, and there were budgeting which was also done. However, these need to have real autonomy as these structures in the other countries have, and they should have seamlessly come and performed their task. The other thing which we need to have done, which we couldn't do very well, that our health budget is very, very poor. It has been poor for decades, and it is poor even now. Major health expenditure comes from the private sector. We really put in money for the health budget, because it is linked to the development. When H1N1 hit the world, Mr. Obama set up a stockpile for pandemics. And in this stockpile, you keep everything what is needed: drugs, PPEs, ventilators, everything there. And if they expire, you throw them. But at least you are prepared. And when something hits us, we are able to really handle that. So here, what we did, ultimately we did everything. We could produce oxygen even in our warplanes. Our
Right.
warplanes started to produce oxygen. We solved our cylinder problem. Everything fell in place. But these if we had a stockpile, we could have seen that some of these things could have solved, because we are a diverse country.
Right.
Many things are in the remote areas and they need to come. So this was this, and our structure produced ventilators, produced everything, BPAPs, everything we were able to produce. But the coordination and the timely production and distribution was something which we are now doing, and it could have been planned by our disaster management board or others, and it would have fallen in place. Then one very major thing which is in the infrastructure is very important, that is managing the supply chains and managing the inventories. These cannot be managed by government very well. In government structure, two organizations manage it well. One is the army and other is the Red Cross.
Right.
Our FEMA should manage it, but it is learning. So this particular part, even now, this, like, we should have learned from Amazon and other, that how they can go to even a desert and deliver a thing within an appointed time. So this is something which we need to strengthen, and we need to see that this really works. Finally, in the infrastructure, one of the major thing is the manpower. So when I was a medical student more than 50 years back, the whole ward was under us after we did MBBS. As a junior house physician and senior house physician, we used to handle the ward completely, and we could do a lot of things. Now the MBBS which comes out can't do anything, because it has just passed and it didn't work. So it starts preparing for post-graduation, sits at home or some smaller job. So and the same for the nurses. They go from one examination to other examination. So this huge resource, which should actually handle all these, is lost. So this is, now we have realized, and we think that, like Thailand and even like China, we should create a system where we will have trained manpower who will be trained to perform several functions on the field, because these guys are taught how to work in a hospital. They look at the community health, and they look at the communication and advocacy. They don't look at these. They just bunk these classes. And so here, this is something which we need to harness. We are trying to harness now, particularly the nurses. Nurses are the major workforce anywhere, not the doctors. And nurses, we need to create better system for nurses in our country, so that these nurses are able to help. Then one of the things which we need to really strengthen is the surveillance. This was seen many years back, and there are institutes around the world who do it very well. We had done it well at one time. Like what we had done, that we had done the polio surveillance. Even the world was, samples were coming to us for that surveillance. So when China was free and the disease spread to China, polio, we knew that it has gone from India via Nepal. When it went to Indonesia, which was free, we knew that it has gone from India to Hajj pilgrims, and then it need to Indonesia. We had 32 genotypes. It shrunk to only 2 genotypes, and we could really predict everything over there, what we need to do. And for here, there was a structure which could advise the government very ably. This structure came from the civil society. So this was a civil society experts in which every sector participated, industry participated, NGOs participated, everyone participated. And the government structure sat around, listened to them, and the policies which came, they implemented. So we did polio, we could eradicate polio, but we could have learned from some of the things like smallpox. We eradicated 25 years after the major world forces had eradicated smallpox. The same way the hepatitis B, when every neighbor has eradicated hepatitis B infection, we took around 25 years, although we produced so much hepatitis B vaccine, we could have washed the entire globe. So if we had a product, we need to learn how to use that product and how to really take that product to every point of care where it is used. So we are one of the major vaccine manufacturing hubs. We are also major pharmaceutical producing hub. So look at some of those things. When the first hub came down, people started returning remdesivir.
Right.
So they stopped producing remdesivir, and now if you start producing now, then what happens? You need about 25 days, 26 days to really put it in the market. So in these things, the stockpiles work are unhelpful. The liposomal amphotericin B was discovered in India by Vimal Bachawat, and it was produced by Gilead as the best one. 4 Indian companies were producing liposomal amphotericin B, but this was not used because Gilead provided this for Leishmania eradication free of cost. So the fungal infection at that time was not that much. So companies stopped producing. So here one needs a very futuristic planning. Fungal infections were increasing.
Right.
It was not there like in PGI Chandigarh, in ILBS, etc. This black fungus mucormycosis was a very major infection. Even during the first wave of the pandemic, 31 cases were detected in Gangaram of mucormycosis. Right. So mucormycosis should have been a red flag. Right. So looking at the epidemiologic and surveillance data and finding out meaning out of that is very, very important. The one more thing in the surveillance is the molecular surveillance. In polio, we did molecular surveillance. In the molecular surveillance, we were able to find that which are the major mutants, because sometimes mutants occur geographically. Right. They are dependent on the population immune system and they thrive in those geographical areas. Sometimes they spread around the world. So we have to really create institutes and particularly the structures who are doing surveillance, the sequencing ability, not the research temples who will do sequencing, but it will not be linked to public health and other areas. In the same way, in the vaccination world, majority are now being done through open licensing. So these open licensing system have worked, but then in open licensing, we will have to see that our regulatory system quickly moves them, quickly funds them. So what speed which United States did, they said that, well, you are doing phase 1, phase 2, it is okay. We will have a stronger regulatory pathway so that we could quickly move, and you start production. If it doesn't work, we are paying for it, you throw it in the sea, right, but produce it. So when actually the vaccines got cleared, you were able to use it and advance because production lines are fine. You have to do the advanced booking. Sometimes you have to do the advanced global bookings. Right. Like at this time, it was very good that the Pfizer vaccine is coming to India. Right. Pfizer vaccine, what it will do, that Pfizer vaccine will provide vaccination to uh, kids, that is 12 to 15, and it will also provide vaccinations to pregnant women where the mortality is very, very high. So this import is a very timely import and was done better. This time, the other thing in the policy is this, that we really need to look at that how do we use the mutation. Majority time mutation is used for tracking, testing and tracking also, because we know that where the hotspots are, how it is spreading. So our system from airport to other testing tracking work, but the behavior part, there is a stigma which goes with this, and the paucity of the hospital beds and others which happen here. Many people didn't start getting tested. So we have to use assumption, and we have to use very strong epidemiological institutes in our country who could really advise the government properly. So when you say that community spread is happening, you are able to say correctly that community spread is happening. When the migrants were moving towards villages, you are able to say that that it will spread to villages, and let us be vigilant, and there should be one um, uh, testing which should reach there. Then the testing.
So if I may just interrupt for a minute. So we know all this. We knew scientists like you, advisors like you must have been in conversation with the current advisors to the government, the current scientists. So, and of the same organizations that you once headed. So why was this advice? Was this advice not listened to, or was this advice given but ignored? What exactly happened? Because after all, the plague was in 1994. That's 27 years ago.
Yeah. So what happens here, that normally the structures which were set up, which were hallowed temples, which were set up, there need to be a memory.
Right,
We should prevent institutes from degrading,
right.
and we need to see, do their performance audit, and we need to see, because somehow or other, all the structures in United States, whether it is CDC or whether it is NIH, there is not 15 structure. These structures are under one particular governance system. So here the governance system is different with our different organization. They need to be coordinated. This time we were lucky that our health minister, his science technology minister, his health minister, his environment minister. So we were lucky. So some coordination really happened. But essentially, this governance system need to come in a seamless one umbrella, and everyone need to really not fragment each other, but carry out their function, whatever has been allocated to them, and let other structures which are around them get strengthened, not do their work and thereby weaken those structures. So
Exactly, sir. If I may interrupt again, sir. So you had the ICMR, you had the NII, yet you have the Niti Aayog in charge of vaccines. Now, why would you want to do that if you already have a system in place for each of these functions?
So these are getting coordinated now, Kaveri ji.
Right.
But what happens that if the one of the structures which need to advise properly is our epidemiologic and data centers, which need to look at the data and advise appropriately. Like this time when the lockdown has been given, there are some very good things which have been put in place. In the first lockdown, we started creating infrastructure and help getting the infrastructure ready. In this, but then we put ourselves in a pause, okay, because we thought that we have won but we were not watching the global scenario.
Right.
There exactly the same thing has happened.
Yeah.
And people become careless, super spreading events happened, and then a huge wave came over. So this particular information should have been provided to our government. So government should have planned. Then the data which comes in, this should be crunched and we should be able to do forecasting. We should be able to advise for corrective measures. So this data crunching part is little weak. But it didn't really advise our planners appropriately that what we should do now or what we should not do. We
Who
should
was
also
responsible for the data crunching? Which body was responsible? ICMR?
that is very difficult to say who should have been responsible. There is a statistics unit in the ministry. There is a health portal, which is again had been set up with the ministry. ICMR has the National Institute of Medical Statistics,
Right.
National Institute of Epidemiology. So all of these are there. But essentially, we need to have something like Chris Murray's place in now in the Washington University, previously in NIH, which is providing the world important systems like others. And then one more thing which we need to look at, that our disease statistics is that now 60 to 70% have become NCDs. Previously, it was diarrheal disease, it was lower respiratory infection below 5, and all those infectious diseases. Now it is cardiovascular, stroke, mental health, etc., etc. So these guys need health services also.
Yeah.
So essentially, our total health service became COVID service.
Right.
So if you really move to the page 3 now, you will see so many people dying of and not all of them from COVID. Because if you now go for health, seek health services, you will find that you do not have anywhere to go because the major surgery is not happening. If you have a cancer, your treatment may get interrupted.
Exactly.
So this particular part was really done through creating infectious disease, major infectious disease hospital in every metro, every district, and even in the smaller cities. So we have infectious disease hospital in some metros, but it is just in metros.
Right.
It is not in the districts, not in other places. And we had the world's best tropical disease institute in Calcutta.
Exactly, which is one of the oldest in the world also.
Yeah, and many people from around the world came to learn there.
Right.
And India had
including
thought,
Ronald Ross.
Yeah, and India had thought that the chair of that institute could come from anywhere in the world.
Right.
But somewhere we lost those tropical disease institutes, and they are the ones which we need to set up. Because why should we use the health infrastructure which is needed by the majority of the population now for only COVID?
Yeah.
Because how the other people will get their health back, and now it is almost 2 years. So this is a long period. So for future planning, we should try to do that we need to set up infectious disease wards, infectious disease hospital, which could really help, trying to help them in such emergencies. And the other thing which we need to do, that we need to create systems which will stop black marketings and hoarding. Now if you have to give amphotericin B, Gilead has also given a dose. So government has to just reach it to the different hospitals themselves.
Right.
Because if you put them in a market, they get hoarded. And we have a system. We should have a cyber system, cyber intelligence system. We have GST. So right by the time a thing is produced and it goes to the lowest chain, you can track this. There is a technologically it is possible. Nobody can really hoard now.
Right.
So So the systems which should work seamlessly here, we need to set them up so that no hoarding happens, and the things really reach their part. One more thing I want to say, that one of the major bedrock in the epidemic is the diagnosis.
Yeah.
And we were doing up to the grassroots level, we were doing the RT-PCR. Every medical college was doing. Andhra Pradesh coastal thing, the fishermen have to export. So every 2 to 4 miles or kilometers, there is a PCR shop. So when we were hit, like I will give you one example, when there was not even a single case of HIV in India, Dr. Ramalinga Swami said that we should set up a surveillance system. People tried to take him through the coal. That why not hepatitis, which we have millions? Why for HIV, which we have none? But he said, okay, if nobody will do it, we will do it. He asked every Eisenman Institute to do hepatitis surveillance, and he funded it also. And Suniti Solomon identified the first HIV strain in India. And then one of the ICMR Institute hit both that northeast HIV tangle, it found out. So then it was handed over to NACO. So the organization like ICMR, which are research organization, which creates tool, which creates surveillance, but then it is handed over to an agency which will do that. So the testing part need to be set up very early. And we had the capability and we had the trained manpower. And so in this time, we don't say that you do NABL, you should have NABL accreditation, or you have now the saliva test, direct saliva test is there, which could move to Yale. What Yale has done, it has actually developed it and giving it free to everyone, and how much reagent from where you source the reagent, everyone can do this. So, and what you do, you run a quality control. So right from the beginning, the volume of our not really depending on when the kits will come and when other things will come, this could enhance to a considerable extent to provide report. There will be certain false positives and false negatives, which were in any case coming up from the earlier one. These could be tested for a second test or a confirmatory test. But ultimately, one of the things in the pandemic is to quickly diagnose through the test systems. And initially, kits are never available. So we have an organization known as Takara, which is in Delhi, which actually supplies these reagents, which synthesizes, supplies the primer, supplies the PCR reagents, and the machines are very, very cost effective, and they cost now not more than 2 to 3 lakhs rupees. So these are some of the things which we should do in the future, that if it is a new pandemic, something is done now. Like when the California strain of H1N1 came, the second day the sequences were in the web. When the Ebola came, the 99 Zaire strain sequences were put on the web, so that the people could really find out primers and create kits which will go on improving. But the first thing is that identify as many cases as possible and spread it around the country in a very fast fashion, and do a reagent bank, provide them reagents centrally, and put up a quality check. So and so that this is done very, very efficiently and quickly, and we get as many cases as possible and a true picture. So future.
In conclusion, sir, if I may ask, if you had to tell me, there are 5 main organizations which need to tackle the pandemic. Should a pandemic recur, which are the 5 major, or however many major organizations in one line, which should have which function?
I will identify them.
Yes.
One of the organization which is important for surveillance,
right,
as well as control, is the Indian CDC.
Okay.
The one for the validation of the vaccines, right, and validation of the diagnostics, is the National Institute of Biologicals.
Right.
The one for research and creating new research tools and conducting basic health research and basic tools for surveillance is Indian Council of Medical Research.
Right.
One for creating new drugs and new drug entities is the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research.
Right.
One for creating industry academia interaction, providing loans and providing products on the immunologic tools and other tools is the Department of Biotechnology.
Right.
One for NSF that getting hardcore basic research issues
Right.
funded at one given time is our Department of Science and Technology.
Right.
For environmental monitoring, in polio, environmental monitoring was very important. For even COVID, environmental monitoring is very important. You monitor the sewages, you monitor the hospital waste, you have monitor for fungus and other things. You make air conditioners safe, you make rooms safe. All these are done by Environment Ministry.
Right.
And there are a lot of environment related institutes around. For the engineering things and engineering medical interface, we have the IITs.
Right.
So we have everything. And for the Ministry of Health is important for implementation and monitoring and policy statements.
And down the line, sir, there are the ASHAs as well who are available for the frontline interaction with people on the ground.
Yeah, and people on the ground are from the this National Health Authority or the National Rural Health Authorities. These are the people in the ground along with the link workers.
Right.
And the NGO network,
yeah.
the huge NGO network in India who are with the communities, and the social and behavioral scientists and anthropologists who actually interact with the people and the government and the political system to create a political will. These are the groups. These need to come together and work as a seamless, strong. We have the strongest structure we have built up, but these structures need to be kept functioning. They need to be kept strengthened. These need to be made decision makers, and these need to be made accountable by doing a functional audit from time to time, that these were their function, have they performed it or not. If it is not for punishing. Yeah. If you find gaps, you quickly fill up the gaps. So and how do you know that you are functioning better or not? There are tools. These are scientific tools which are known as metrics for implementation and monitoring. And many times this is done by a third party. Like if you are the executor, and if you are also monitoring the implementation and other, you then somewhere something may go wrong. So this need to be done by a third party sometimes, and there need to be a forum where you look at what is happening in the international health.
Yeah.
Our international health institutes need to be strengthened. We don't have many. We don't have really a good international health institutes. Every agency has an international cell which looks at the collaboration. But international health institutes look at that what's happening in Africa, what's happening in neighboring Pakistan or Bangladesh and others, and they take care of that. And one very major asset which we need to build up, every intervention goes from mother.
Right.
We need to build up mother-centric. Then if you build up the nutrition of mother, nutrition of child, and if you build up structure around them, you get the infection first of all. The COVID was a different thing, that no population was immune to this. So it went to adult population first. It is moving to children now. When adult population gets immunized or they get herd immunity, it moves to children. So, and it moves to mother and then children. So essentially, the nutrition, building up nutrition, building up mother's health, then you build up the child health, need to be a priority. The water, hand, hygiene and sanitation need to be priority. Environment, wildlife environment need to be priority, because H1N1, H5N1, H5N1, JE, etc., carried by birds, the migrating birds and other ones. So all these are priorities, but who will coordinate it? Who will be the coordinating factor over this? So this should be one thing. The second thing will be that I will, like, when I was in ICMR, I never chaired any meeting of the ICMR. I established with Prasad Rao the NTAGI, which does the vaccine thing. I never chaired that, because if I chair that, and if I say that you need to do this, because I have opinion in every place. Now you have been talking to me, you have realized. And so if people listen to me that this is my opinion, right, they will say, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. They will not tell something which I need to hear and then take a decision. So in these situations, like we did in polio, we did very correctly. We need to have an advisory board where the members should be recognized globally by people. That this is the guy we know, but at least 50 outsiders from India should know that person for its capability. And
unfortunately, we're running out of time, but I think you've set out so clearly that we have the existing systems, and you have been instrumental in creating those. It's just a matter of having institutional memory, and if that does not exist, then to actually start listening to experts in this field who know what they're talking about. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Kaveri.
And I know I've made you sort of, speak so much and to put everything in order, but thank you so much.
Thank you, Kaveri. Thank you very much.
अब डिसइंफेक्टिंग सजा नहीं, मजा है. नया Savlon Surface Disinfectant Spray. No tension for surface disinfection. Savlon.